What's up, YouTube? I'm back with another update. As promised, gonna walk quickly through my verification account. I've now passed it, or at least in the process of passing it. And two more nuggets. I got a few messages about my trading strategy, so I'm gonna show one example trade that kind of got me over the hump for the verification account, and then a dashboard that I use to track my trade. So stay tuned. My verification challenge, but I want to give you some good nuggets that can help you in your trading, and particularly if you're doing the challenge. So you remember in the previous video I just passed the challenge. You can see that account down here. So excited about that. One more step to go, which is where I'm at now. I'm in verification, and you can see here I passed the profit target. So essentially verification is done. What I haven't passed are the minimum trading days, and so that is kind of where I am. You'll see as we jump into the verification account, I hit the profit target on Friday. I'm over about $174. Didn't even get close to the maximum loss or the max daily loss, and this only took me 3 days. And so this, compared to the challenge, I think there are two things that are a little bit different. So one, as you know, in the verification, only 5% profit goal, and then you have double the time, 60 days. I knew I did not want to take 60 days. I wanted to try to hit it within 10 days. I've done that, or I will do that. So I was super focused on doing that. That's the first thing. The second thing, coming out of the challenge, I'd hit really good stride, kind of hit some good tweaks to my trading strategy that allowed me to be successful in the challenge, and I continued those over into the verification. And I think the third thing, I would be remiss just to say that I hit my trades just in a good time in the market for my particular currency pair. GJ itself has been in a strong uptrend, for at least particularly last week, and so I rode that wave to pass the challenge, and then I got my verification account like the next day after I passed the challenge, and I started trading immediately, and so I continued to ride that wave to pass the verification. And so that's one thing to think about as well if you're thinking about taking the challenge or the verification. Ultimately, for your particular currency pair and your trading strategy and style, is the market conducive to helping you be successful right now? If it's not, then maybe you reconsider dropping the $500 or $600 or whatever it is for you to pass. It worked out in my favor this time, but I'm well aware that market dynamics can change, and so things may or may not play out the same in the future. Nevertheless, I was able to pass the verification, at least all the objectives, pretty quickly. And so now I have about 7 trading days left, and I'm just going to make some small 10-cent lot trades on this account, and then I'm going to shift back some focus to my personal account and trade that while this is ramping up. And my plan is to, once I get the funded account, trade it for a month, take the first withdrawal, and then apply for my second account. And the reason I'm doing it that way is one, I've seen videos of others taking their withdrawals, and it's not, and I guess I'm still a little bit skeptical, so I want to see it and experience it for myself. And then I'll know for sure that I want to drop another $600 or to do my second and third account. I feel good about it, but it's always good to test and verify yourself, and so that's what I'm going to do. And so I'll obviously keep you in the loop as we go along from there. And so I got a few comments about trades that I take in my trading strategy, and there's a wealth of videos on YouTube about trade setups and strategies. I do not think that I'm a guru or a video trader analysis person at all, and so I'm unsure whether I want to wade into that water. But what I will do is I will show you the trade that I took to pass the challenge, the trade that kind of got me over the $5,000 mark, and so hopefully you can get some value from that. And if there's a significant interest in me doing more detail on my trades and my trading strategy, I'm happy to do that in some future videos. And before I leave the screen, just one thing to know. You remember in my challenge account I was negative the entire time. This one, totally positive mindset coming out of the challenge, waiting for my ideal setups, and literally just take them. So you need to just look at the trades. I was never negative. I hit it, pretty quickly. And so that's, tips 4 and 5 from my last video. Waiting for your best setups, and then, adding a little bit extra juice to get where you need to go. And so really happy where I am. And so the trade that I took, I have it pulled up here. We have a chart of GJ, and we're looking at the 15-minute chart. And so this was on Friday. And I'll just go through a little bit of the thing that I have marked up. The blue lines are my daily support and resistance lines, and this orange line is a support and resistance on the 4-hour. And so I mainly take entries on the 15-minute and the 30-minute, but I use structure from the daily, 4-hour, and to an extent the hour to kind of guide how I think, I want to participate in the particular market. This is a 50-day SMA here. And then the only other indicator that I really have on here are the sessions. I primarily trade just off price action. I don't do a lot of indicators. I will look at moving averages from time to time, but I primarily just trade off the price action. And I have my sessions marked up in the back. Green is London. It's kind of brownish is the overlap between London and New York, and then this red is the New York session, and then black is Asian. And so I'll trade. I've traded in either session. I'm kind of session agnostic. I wait, again, I just wait for my setup. But I do specifically target the opens. So Asian Open, London Open, and New York Open. And so this was an example of just that. So New York Open happened at 8. This kind of breakout happened around 9 a.m. And so you can see in the London session, we had pulled to this daily support and resistance. We didn't break through it. So I knew it was an area of interest to pay attention to. We had a decent draw or reversal, but then we revisited that same level again in New York. And remember, GJ at this time, GJ had been bullish all week. You can even look at the 50 EMA on the 50 simple moving average on this chart, though I don't recommend a lot for 15-minute charts, but even here it's bullish, prices above it. And so I had a bullish bias. We tested the high here, and then we got a really nice pullback, and this is like my ideal setup. Hit the high and give me a nice pullback so I can have a relatively short stop loss. I have it marked up here. You can see the stop loss was about 14 pips, but to the next level, which was my 4-hour mark, 41 pips, right? A 3-to-1 risk to ratio reward, which is phenomenal. And so if you don't trade GJ or any of the GBP pairs, this is like not abnormal at all, which is why I love those pairs and why I try to wait for my setups and then add a little extra juice, because it allows me to kind of hit my goals quickly. And so you can see how it marked up. Once we got this pullback, I knew where I was going. I don't do pending orders. I only do market orders, but I waited for price to break this high. I set my stop loss just below this level, and then it took off. I didn't hold for the full 40 pips. I only needed like 15 or 16. I was trading 10 lots, so $100 per pip, and so I didn't need the full move. I got what I needed, and I closed out. So these are, if you go back to the previous video, lesson 4 was waiting for your best setups. I've gotten good about being patient and waiting for it, and when it goes off, it tends to go off. So and so this is breakouts and pullbacks are a really good strategy that I like to trade. And so just before that, before I move off this chart, you can see, let me clear this out of the way. If I was going to trade a pullback, you can see a pullback right here. So we broke this level. We had a nice little bit of a retracement. Again, GJ is bullish, and so I would have waited for either this candle to break this 15-minute high, or probably wait for it to break the 30-minute high, and then I would have got in on this candle, and I could have rolled it up another. I'm gonna break up this high. That would have been like another 50 pips, right? And so that's the other way. So I do breakouts and I do pullbacks. And that's kind of my trading strategy. I will give credit where credit is due. If you do not follow Wicks Don't Lie on YouTube, he's a phenomenal trader. And so pullbacks, I learned from him. He has a course called Market Fluidity, which is great. I'm not an affiliate. I get no benefit from him at all, but he does live streams and he'll take breakouts and pullbacks as well. And so I've modify my strategy slightly, but I do a similar strategy. And so the last thing that I want to add or help you guys with is maybe the trading journey. So I didn't mention this in my last video, but I created this dashboard to help me with my trading, and I did it. I did it specifically for FTMO, but it's helped in other areas. And so if I go back to this initial setup, you'll see down here this free trial. So I initially took a free trial for FTMO to get, sign up and see how it worked, and I ultimately failed it. I think I busted the daily max loss. But after doing this, I was like, I'm gonna trade my own account and I want to manage it in a similar way. So I created this dashboard, and so this particular one that we're looking at is for that. I believe it's for that trial. I was cleaning up some files and I accidentally deleted the same tracker for the challenge, so I'm not able to show that to you. But the premise and I think the nuggets that you may be able to take from it are still the same. And so it's not too different from what you see in your FTMO dashboard. You got your equity curve, you got some performance metrics, trading objectives. For me, remember you have 30 days to pass the challenge, but that equates to about 20 trading days. And so if I was going to extend the challenge to its full extent, I needed to make about $500 a day. So that was the pace that I needed to keep. And so as you come down to your daily results, we'll walk through it quickly. Your date, your calendar, and your trading flag. These are just setups that trigger the markers down here. Let me know whether I passed the profit, daily loss, max loss, or minimum trading days. Then it goes into your my daily profit in money, and then your daily pips in profit or loss, cumulative profit, account size, growth, daily loss, max loss, etc. All the things that are in FTMO. The few things that are different, you'll remember in FTMO they account for equity drawdowns, even if as long as the trade is open. This is a static sheet, so it doesn't do that. But it helped me track where I was relative to the daily and max loss. But where I got, where I kind of actually managed it was this row right here, the daily catch up for target completion and cumulative catch up amount. And so for me, remember, I was trying, or my goal was to at least hit $500 a day. So this number, or this row right here, showed me whether for that trading day I hit that minimum target, and if I didn't, right, maybe my setup didn't show up, or I didn't want to overtrade, then it would show me how much I'm missing. And so the miss would be cumulative, and so it would add or subtract each day based on how I would do. So on this next day, I didn't hit the $500 profit target again, so the cumulative catch-up amount to keep pace is growing. And this third day, I had a really good day, and so I actually got ahead of the curve, and so that's why the daily catch-up amount for the following day is negative, because I'm ahead. And so anyway, at any point in time within the challenge or the verification, even now, I knew where I was or what I needed to hit my daily target or the overall target. And so I have a similar version of this dashboard. The columns or the row inputs are slightly different from my personal account. I don't have profit targets or any of that, because none of that is relevant. But it helps me, I like it because it helps me kind of track some things that I'm doing. And I'm aware that there is software or programs out there that you can do this. I hadn't looked into any of that before, and so maybe I will. But all these stuff that you're seeing now are outputs. The main juice behind all of this is the trading journal, and all this are inputs. There may be a way to export from MT4 and do this manually. I hadn't looked into it, and again, I know there's some software, some programs where it'll do this yourself. I think I got the value from it because the act of actually, after each trade, going in and manually putting in where I opened, where I closed, the profit, the total, whether it was a win or loss, and adding the notes helped me get the muscle memory, not only to remember what the trade was, to remember how it went right or how it went wrong. And so, and these are the notes associated with each of those trades. And so, as an example, we look at this loss right here. It says, I shouldn't have entered this trade. I tried to catch remaining move down to support. And so this was, I bet this was UJ. Let's see. It wasn't. It was USD Swiss. And so, again, I trade breakouts and pullbacks. So this probably, if I remember correctly, I missed the bulk of the move. and I tried to catch, it'll do a big move and sometimes price will pull back. So I tried to get in on the pullback, but I had a horrible stop loss, and so it reversed further, and I didn't close in time. And so having that note here helped me to remember that. Let's go with one more. This was a win just under that. This one would probably be there. Looking at the comments, and it was, yep. Because it says I closed too early. Remember, during high volume times, this pair tends to run. Always have a partial runner. So remember, again, GJ tends to fly when it breaks out. And though it was a win, I could have, gotten a little bit more juice out of it had I, put my stops at break even and let her run a run. So anyway, having these notes associated with each trade helps me, or has helped me, hone my strategy. And so this may be useful for you. So if you're interested in using this dashboard, I can, if there's interest, I'll create a public version of it, and you can download it in Google Sheets or convert it to Excel. One other thing in here that I thought was helpful for me, I created a time chart because the FTMO, they're on a different time zone, Central, I think it's Central Eastern Summer, and that lines up differently with how the time shows up for me in TradingView, as well as I'm in the Eastern Standard Time Zone, as well as how it shows up in MT4. So I just wanted to quickly be able to convert back and forth. I have my trading sessions marked up and also where I don't trade. I have my H4 closes marked up, which is helpful for me because when the 4-hour closes, there tends to be a slight pullback, so it's always helpful for me, at least how I trade, to know when H4 is going to close. And then I wanted to know when does the max daily loss reset. So had I gotten close to it in any days, I think I did in the challenge, when could I start trading again? So that was important for me to know as well. So this was in there as well. And so this is something that I didn't mention in the last video that I wanted to mention here, just in two ways. One, create data for yourself. Trading journals are super useful for honing your strategies, and it's proved to be helpful for me in the challenge, but also in my personal account. And then the third thing is just being able to create some rules and metrics around how you trade. I think FTMO, the challenge itself, forces you to do that, and so maybe that's a good thing. But if you don't want to trade the challenge, or even if you want to do it on your personal account, you can manage yourself similarly. And so that's it for this video. Again, I am on my way to passing the verification, on my way to my first funded account. I will do an update once I get the funded account and let you know all the legalities and how that works. And the next video would be when I do the withdrawal. So I'm really excited about that. So for all the traders out there, good luck and stay safe.